Hello everyone, it's Adamant and I'm back with some Champions Online. Today we're going to do a quick review of my munitions build. This is Sureshot. His background, or whatever you want to call it, his bio, is that he is an agent. He has minor super abilities. He's a very low level telekinetic, and but it's not really that useful. However, he does use it to augment his personal force field. It's also augmented by the power suit that he wears. He also uses high-tech weaponry, and his true superpower is using his telekinesis to manipulate the trajectory of his bullets and making him ultra accurate. And therefore his name is Sureshot. So just kind of a cool concept. He's more of an agent, pistol packing, powered armor wielding. He spent his life as a mercenary, and but always kind of chose the right path as far as the life of a typical mercenary. He's not really like that. He's more heroic. I tend to like the classic kind of hero-based, Silver Age comic type of thing, not really vigilante or anti-hero. But that being said, that's enough of his background. Let's just talk about the build real quick. So the way that the way that this game works, if you're not familiar, is that there's a couple of different stances you can be in, or they're called builds in this game. In this one, you see the bullet. That means that's offensive, and the way that works is you can look at your you can mouse over these, and for range damage, by selecting this build, it gives me a little extra range damage and a little extra energy building strength with less energy from blocking because I'm a DPS role. So the other one, you can pick tank. Anybody can pick these roles. It just changes the way that the stats are prioritized or whatever. So that being said, the first one I'm going to show you is the range damage roll, and that is suddenly I changed it apparently. I don't want to do that. Okay. And looks like Chaos Knight is going to be attacking. He's building some energy up, and he's attacking my target. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to just show you kind of the DPS rotations, if you will, and then I'll, of course, the link to the build is in the description below, and we can also take it on a test run through the actual. There's like you can actually go on an instance, like a danger room training sequence, and I'll show you how it works against multiple foes. But this will show you the basics of the damage I can churn out. So on that note, there's a couple things to activate. First, you want to activate your sharpshooter. Now, arguably, concentration might be better than sharpshooter. I haven't really. It's weird. It looks like concentration might be a better power, but I picked sharpshooter. It's in the munitions set, so we'll have to do some research. But some of the powers that I have here, you activate this to keep. This is your buff form, and you'll see over here when you mouse over the like underneath your character, it shows you all your buffs, and it'll show how that increases. So I'm just going to start with my energy builder, and we'll start doing some damage, and we'll generate. We're going to generate. I think I have to crit in order to get buffs of sharpshooter, so we'll just use my main attack. Now I only have 3 attacks here. I've got my energy builder, my single target DPS, and my area effect. And you might wonder why only 3 attacks. It's just the majority of the build is really either to boost my attacks or to boost my defenses. So I sort of want it to be a survivable DPS build, because a DPS build that drops constantly isn't able to stick in the battle and do damage. And you can see I can generate crits pretty easily. We've got 6 stacks of precision. I think I can get up to 8 stacks, so let's see. There's 7 stacks now. And once we get to 8 stacks, okay, so that's the maximum amount of stacks we're going to get, and then we just kind of turn it on. And because we have some energy builders, some passives that build energy, I'm basically just holding on my attack. I don't even have to use the energy builder anymore, and I should be generating enough energy. But if in the case that I'm out of energy, and see, look how quickly it builds up. In case I run out of energy by just spamming this one attack, the now this is my it's not mousing over, sorry. See, look at all those crits, just generating a lot of damage. But if I ever have to worry about energy, or maybe at the beginning of a fight, I can use this power conversion. It gives me maximum energy, and that's how I usually start a fight. But yeah, I mean, I just hold the button. Might be pretty, but now you can, of course, this is an attack you can actually move an attack with. So if I have to move into, you know, picking up some, sometimes there's pickups you have to grab, but I'm just holding the trigger. So it's pretty fun. But if I wanted to get, you know, to a better position or whatever, I would just hop around like this. Okay. Pretty uneventful. And of course, he's not fighting back, so you don't really know the true survivability or power of this build. So let's... now, you can also mouse over the attacks here. It'll tell you how much damage you're doing. So right now, because of the buffs I have in place, each shot does... it's 1,000 points every half second. So it's pretty crazy how much... And you'll see my buffs as they drop. My buffs drop, it'll drop the damage in the mouse over, so you can kind of see what you're working with there. If I change the build, now you'll notice here, let me show you my character sheet. It gives you kind of a quick rundown of the basics, right? So Dex, Con, and Ego are my super stats, and Dex is going to help me with my crit chance and a little bit defensively. But this is because I'm also in the targeting computer, which is an offensive passive. Now, when I switch to my more survivable build, you'll notice how the defenses drastically increase. Watch this. Because now I'm using lightning reflexes, which work off my dex, and now I have a 70% chance to dodge, and then I would only take about 20% of the damage once I dodge. So on top of that, I've got 21% damage resistance and defenses. So with a health of about a little over 8k. So it makes me really survivable, and my damage is drastically reduced. You'll see now I'm only doing 570. And even though I still have all the same offensive passives, let's see how high we can get the damage up. But the true beauty of the build is the defensive nature. But let's get our stacks of precision, and we'll see what our maximum damage output will be. Now, of course, in this roll, I think my energy might go down a little bit more, but I still have energy providers. I can still do this. But right now, I'm just spamming. And we're up to 6 stacks of precision. And there's 7. And 8. Okay, so at 8 stacks of precision, we're looking at, in the tankiest build, we are looking at, why can't I mouse over it? There it is. 721 every half second. So 14 something something. A second seems pretty good, in addition to keeping, like, that's not that much of a price to pay for a huge increase in defenses. And of course I have the active defenses I can pop to give me more healing over time and some more damage reduction, and also, I'm sorry, that's not damage reduction. I'm doing less damage when I pop that, but that's okay. It's worth it to be survivable. But Masterful Dodge gives me a huge increase in dodge chance and evasion. So I'll just let you see it. Look at that. So anyways, very survivable DPS build, and that's what I was going for. So let's show you what that looks like when we go to the actual training battle instance. This is like a danger room. You set up your opponents. Now I'm also going to trigger my swinging, and the reason I do that is because swinging has a additional bonus to defenses. So you'll see my dodge chance and my avoidance went up a little teeny bit. but every little bit counts. So we're going to show you what it looks like to fight hard opponents. We'll go Purple Gang. They use, they're probably the least threatening, but just to show you how this works. Okay, we are in the survivable build. We're going to put on my shield, jump into the middle of these guys, and use my area effect, Lead Tempest, and see how many we can take down. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm actually going to wait for my cooldown on Masterful Dodge here. We get 10 seconds to wait. That'll let me jump into battle, activate that to get the most defense, and then we can still, that'll last for 15 seconds or so. And the reason we're going to do that is so that way we can start our area effect in the middle of them and also be survivable, because every single one of those guys is going to be pounding on me. So hopefully we'll survive, take a few down before our 15 seconds is up, and then we can just finish the last few off. All right, here we go. The cool thing about the shield too is that it sticks around for a few minutes, or not minutes, sorry, about 8 seconds after I stop blocking. But in this game, blocking is super important. All right, let's go. And here we are. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that go off, and you can see I'm not taking any damage, or very little, because I'm dodging a lot. I get knocked. I can just activate my shield. And we're just gonna, our energy is looking great, and there they are. They're just falling, and I'm not even taking a scratch at this point. And if I want to just finish him off, some single target damage. Now, I wasn't very active. I wasn't really moving around. In this game, you really don't have to. You can rely. You don't have to move around to avoid damage, because it's all like, you know, targeted stuff, MMO style. So it's not like some action MMOs where you're actually actively participating in the combat, and that might not be appealing for everybody. It's definitely a game that's older, and I still enjoy it, but you have to just understand how the combat works. It's not as dynamic as some other games. All right, well, that was pretty successful. So let's go in there and see what it looks like when I just use my. I see. I'll die really quickly if I just go with my offensive build. So you'd be surprised how much it helps to not be a crazy person. All right, let's get in there. We're gonna use our power. We're gonna block as we get in there, and let's get their attention. And we'll just burn them down with some single target. As long as I tab fast and switch over. In this one I took a little bit more damage. But yeah, so we can grab these, get up here. I'm surprised these guys didn't come down. And they all dropped pretty that was pretty effective. Alright, so I'm gonna pop this to get. So we'll go in with our shields up. Again, blocking is really critical in this game, and keeping that shield up is really reducing the amount of damage I'm taking. So we'll do. And the range on this thing is crazy too. Like, look how far I'm hitting. Even the guys against the far wall right there. Hello. All right. Well, cleared that room pretty easily, to be honest with you. Now we can reset. See, I think the amount of damage I do, but the lack of defense in the other build. The only reason I want to, or the only way I want to use that DPS build is in a fight where someone else is getting the attention of the bad guys. So if I'm soloing, or if I'm in a group that doesn't have a lot of aggro or a tank or some way to get the attention off me, I'm always going to be in this build. I could even get more defenses by going into my tanky build, but it's really not worth it because it reduces my DPS even more. So I pretty much want to stay with this survivor, which is hybrid. If if I didn't cover that real quickly. The way the hybrid roll works is the hybrid roll is equal. Everything is 100% normal value, so that you don't get any additional pluses, but you don't take any of the drawbacks either. So it's the most balanced build, and that's where I put my defensive passive. Now you could also do a hybrid build and put your passive, make your passive offensive, but because the passives in hybrid can be used either or. And when you're in an offensive build or a damage build, you can't use your defensive passives, which makes sense logically. But the game is really flexible in these ways. You can really play around with a lot of different things. So take a look at the build in the description below. You can see how I leveled it up. You can, of course, swap things out if you want more attacks. By all means, do that. If you want to use concentration instead of sharpshooter, I think that might be a good idea. When you mouse over it, you'll see the difference. And other than that, I've just got I'm pretty generous with my defensive toggles and such, and that's it. So let me know what you think of the build. If you have any ideas, or if you have any munitions build that you've been testing and you like things better. I just got back into the game, so I'm still learning. So I'd appreciate any tips and tricks. And if you have anything you like or don't like, please let me know, and I will address those things as appropriate. All right, take care, everybody.